My life shattered when everything became too hard, but it led to an unbelievable transformation. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The air felt thick, heavy with anticipation, as I stood on the edge of my breakdown. My heart raced, pounding like a drum, and each breath felt like I was inhaling shards of glass. I was wrapped in anguish, my world spinning out of control. My name is Emma. I was always the strong one, the one who held everything together, but on that dark Tuesday, it was clear I couldn't do it anymore. My hands trembled while I stared at the phone, its bright screen glaring like a beacon of disaster. My father's voice haunted my mind, frantic words echoing in my soul, "It's too late. We lost everything." Tears streamed down my cheeks, pooling on the floor like silent witnesses to my agony. I thought about my brother, just 18, full of dreams now dashed against cold reality. He needed stability, but how could I provide it? That morning, my life had crumbled. We lost the family business, our legacy. All those late nights, the blood, sweat, and tears gone in a moment, leaving us vulnerable, exposed. My mother's silence was deafening, her eyes a deep well of despair. I could feel the collective weight of our losses, a shroud that draped over our home, smothering hope, yet, as I sat there, my mind raced to strange things that had been happening in our town. Rumors whispered of an old, abandoned bookstore on the edge of the district. They said it held secrets, maybe magic, maybe something even darker. Curiosity gnawed at my insides, pushing against the despair. Could it offer a way out? Among the eerie stories of the bookstore, one stood out, a tale of a girl who discovered a portal to another world, a place where everything she lost could be regained. My breath hitched. What if it was real? What if the impossible was just waiting for me to seek it out? Each moment felt suspended, like the stillness after a storm. I felt restless. I was tired of waiting for life to show mercy. I had to take a risk, step into the unknown. But what if that journey led to danger rather than salvation? I laid my head on the table, feeling defeated yet oddly alive with anticipation. Should I follow the whispers? Should I dare to uncover the truth behind that restless mystery? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The following morning, the sun rose timidly behind a curtain of gray clouds, casting a dull hue across my world. I stirred in the remnants of my sleep, a formless puddle of anxiety and disbelief. The thought of facing another day in our crumbling home weighed down on me like a heavy blanket, even as faint rays of sunlight filtered through my window. I felt trapped, longing to break free from the cycle of despair that had enveloped my family. In the silence, I noticed a flutter of hope, a fragile, elusive whisper urging me to seek out the bookstore. I caught myself, heart racing less from fear than from a flicker of excitement. Steeling my resolve, I pulled myself out of bed, grabbed a warm jacket, and slipped on my worn sneakers. The day held potential, even in its morning. With one last look at the remnants of breakfast plates strewn across the table, I headed out the door, leaving the heaviness behind, at least for now. The air outside was crisp, filled with the scent of damp earth, as trees swayed gently, sharing secrets with each other. Each step guided me closer to the town's forgotten corners where the whispers of the bookstore danced through my thoughts. I navigated narrow streets filled with a mix of old brick buildings, their stories whispered through peeling paint and cracked windows. At that moment, the world around me felt a stark contrast to the weight that had settled in my chest just days ago. Anxiety began yielding to a brave curiosity that propelled me forward. As I approached the address that was imprinted in my mind, I paused, letting my heart catch up. Suddenly, I stood before the bookstore, a modest facade draped in layers of ivy and neglect. It looked like something out of a fairy tale, yet foreboding in its apparent abandonment. A faint sign swayed above the door, half concealing its name. I hesitated, biting my lip. Maybe it was just a dusty old shop filled with neglected books, a mere illusion of hope, but the air stirring with unspoken mystery urged me forward. I pushed open the creaky door, the sound echoing in the hollow silence inside. A rush of stale air enveloped me as I entered. The shop was alive with the weight of histories and undiscovered dreams. Dust motes danced in the slivers of light, revealing rows upon rows of neglected shelves. As I wandered through the aisles, time felt suspended, wrapped around me like a warm embrace. I brushed my fingertips against spines of old books, each one a guardian of stories waiting to be told. A peculiar thrill coursed through me. Could one of these volumes hold the key to my wishes? Just as I turned a corner, I bumped into someone. Startled, I looked up to find an elderly woman with silver hair gathered in a loose bun and eyes sparkling with mischief. Ah. I didn't see you there, she chuckled, amusement dancing in her voice. We hardly get visitors anymore. Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. I was just looking, I replied, my voice a blend of nervousness and intrigue. Looking for something in particular? She queried, tilting her head slightly. There was warmth in her gaze that softened the trepidation in my heart. To be honest, I'm not sure, I confessed, feeling an inexplicable urge to share my burden. I've been through a lot lately. I thought maybe there was something here that could help me. Her expression shifted to one of empathy. This place holds more than just books. It holds fragments of hope. But hope carries a price, my dear. Are you prepared to pay? I blinked slowly, contemplating her words as a chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? She stepped closer, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. Every wish made comes with a sacrifice. You must ask yourself what you're willing to give up. Before I could answer, a loud crash echoed from the back of the store, jolting us both. My heart raced as I turned toward the sound, a deep sense of foreboding sinking into my stomach. The woman looked troubled, her gaze darting in the direction of the noise. What's happening? I demanded, the enormity of the moment sending chills through me. She sighed, eyeing the shadows that flickered in the dim light. It seems the past is not quite ready to let go. You should not be here when it awakens. Just as I turned to flee, a low growl reverberated through the air, chilling me deeper than the growing darkness around us. Realization dawned. Whatever secrets lay within this crumbling haven ran far deeper than I had ever imagined. In the moment I had yearned for hope, I had unwittingly stepped into something far more dangerous. The elderly woman grasped my arm tightly, her grip firm yet comforting. Listen, Emma. The journey ahead won't be easy. But I sense your spirit is stronger than you know. Trust in yourself and be prepared, for not all hopes come without consequences. The moment hung heavily in the air, her words echoing in my mind like a warning bell. As shadows loomed, a surge of determination burned within me. Would unearth the truth of this place and the binds that held my family captive. But just as I took a step toward the door, the ground trembled beneath us, and an almighty roar erupted from the back. My breath hitched, and I froze. The adventure I had sought was now plunging into a reality I couldn't comprehend, and as fear began to settle in, I knew without doubt I was far from finished facing the fragments of my past. The tremor beneath my feet faded, but the fear it left in its wake clung to me like cobwebs in the corners of the bookstore. I darted my eyes around the room, and the elderly woman's grip on my arm felt both reassuring and terrifying. What was that? I breathed, the words tumbling out in desperation. It's the essence of stories long forgotten, she replied, her voice steady, though curiosity shone in her eyes. They manifest when they are disturbed, when someone seeks their truth. I whispered, the gravity of her words crashing over me. But I only came here for a moment of escape, not this. Escape can often lead us to the deepest truths about ourselves, she said, her tone gentle yet firm. What do you think has brought you here? You sought hope. But narratives have a way of intertwining years with others, past with present. That I took a step back despite her comforting presence, uncertainty clawing at my heart. So what do I do now? Should I leave? Just then, another reverberating crash echoed, this time accompanied by a faint cry. My instinct kicked in. We can't just leave someone back there. I blurted, torn between the flight response and a burgeoning resolve I didn't know I had. An unexpected spark flickered in her eyes, a glint of admiration laced with the urgency of a mentor recognizing a student's potential. Then we must understand it together, she declared, releasing her grip and stepping toward the deeper shadows. Follow closely, and remember, understanding often requires facing fear. When I hesitated, her eyes softened. Take my hand if you're ready. We will venture into the unknown, where the past seeks resolution. With trembling hands, I reached out and grasped her weathered palm. The warmth coursing between us felt like a bridge spanning the chasm of doubt and fear sinking into my heart. Together, we stepped deeper into the shadows, drawn by the echoes that grew louder as we approached the heart of the store. As we moved past the shelves, flickering candles lit the way, illuminating not just the path but the textures of the tales etched into every crevice of the aged wood. A tapestry of whispers wrapped around us, a marriage of sorrow and hope, mingling with the dust that had long settled over these stories. The roar reached a crescendo, vibrating through the air. And then, we turned a corner, revealing a small room I hadn't noticed before, a space cloaked in emerald drapes and echoes of laughter. In the center lay a table piled high with tattered books, some opened as if eagerly waiting to share their tales, others closed like secrets yearning for release. At the far end stood a figure, a boy not much older than me, illuminated in the soft glow of a nearby lamp. His dark hair fell in soft waves around his face, framing eyes that glimmered with a mixture of defiance and hope. I could see the pain written in the lines of his brow, reflecting a story that mirrored my own. Help me, he pleaded, his voice thick with desperation that resonated inside me. I can't keep living like this. I'm trapped in a story that isn't mine. The elderly woman glanced at me, her expression urging me closer. His story intertwines with yours, Emma. You must decide if you're willing to help him find his truth, which might be the key to unlocking your own. What do you mean, trapped? I asked, stepping hesitantly toward him. How can I help? He looked up, revealing a vulnerability that drew me in. There's a curse binding the tales of forgotten ones, the hurt, the loss, they keep echoing in this place. I can't leave, and I don't want to be the vessel of someone else's pain. I need someone to break the cycle. My heart raced with adrenaline. Together we could face it, whatever it is. I want to try, I responded, feeling an unexpected connection form between us as our stories collided. The boy nodded, a flicker of hope in his eyes. Then let's confront it together. There's more to the roar than fear, it's the remnants of stories yearning to be freed. Just then, the ground quaked again, but now it felt different, charged with an energy promising transformation rather than annihilation. A swirl of vibrant colors erupted from the pile of books on the table, wrapping around us like an ethereal embrace, igniting our deepest fears but intertwining them with flickers of joy. Face it, the elderly lady murmured, her voice echoing with a power I had yet to comprehend. This is your moment to understand that hope is always born from the heart of adversity. As we stood there, the swirling past converging around us, a thought struck me. I was tethered between my family's troubles and this boy's plight, a conduit for the stories woven into this world. But there was something else, a lingering shadow, a whisper promising that my new reality would shatter everything I thought I knew. With needles of anticipation pricking at my skin, I knew I was on the precipice of something monumental. I vowed to break through, to search for the truth buried within the chaos. In that moment, I realized that facing fear held greater potential than I had ever imagined. Then, before I could grasp the full extent of this newfound determination, the swirling energy coalesced, forming clear words in the air: you must sacrifice to gain what you seek. A wave of cold rushed through me, and the boy's eyes widened, mirroring my mounting dread. The realization hit me that whatever fate awaited us was about to unfold in ways I couldn't anticipate. The words hung heavy in the air, a prophecy suspended in time. You must sacrifice to gain what you seek. My heart raced, an insistent drumbeat amplifying the tension around us. The boy's expression shifted from hope to apprehension, casting a shadow over everything we had begun to forge together. What does it mean? He whispered, glancing between the elderly woman and me, as if our responses held the key to his salvation. The flickering lights danced in the air, reflecting the chaos that now swirled in my mind. That I don't know, I stammered, feeling the weight of the words settle in my chest, like a hidden stone digging deeper with every breath. But it sounds like it's asking for something, for us to let go of something precious. Let go? He echoed, his voice strained as he took a small step back, grounding himself. What if what they want us to let go of is too much? What if that sacrifice is too great? His questions rattled within me, resonating in my own anxieties, my family's strife, the insidious silence my mother wore since the accident. What if the stories we were trying to unravel were steeped in a loss that ran deeper than just fear? A flicker of anger flared in my chest, igniting a fierce resolve. We can't let fear dictate our path. If we work together, if we confront whatever binds us, maybe we can break free. The elderly woman's eyes shimmered with pride at my burgeoning determination. That's the spirit, Emma. To confront the depths, we must be willing to face ourselves. As she spoke, a sudden gust of wind swept through the small room, casting the books into disarray, sending pages fluttering like birds escaping a cage. In that whirlwind, I caught a glimpse of stories unleashed, glimpses of shattered dreams, missed opportunities, and moments of unbearable happiness. I could see them intertwining with the boy's anguish, threading our fates in ways I couldn't fully grasp yet. What memories are trapped within those tales? I thought aloud, desperation threading through my voice. I stepped toward the mess, my fingers brushing over weathered pages that told of worlds both beautiful and broken. They're still living, still yearning for release. We have to honor them. Honor them? The boy replied, a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. But how? If we break free from our stories, what will we become? I took a deep breath, inhaling the musty scent of the stories surrounding us. Maybe we won't truly break free. Maybe we rewrite them. But we must face and understand why they were written in the first place. His shoulders relaxed slightly, a spark igniting in his gaze. Then let's do that together. Together. The word echoed in my mind, intertwining our destinies as we confronted the unknown looming before us. But before we could delve deeper, the walls trembled again, this time erupting in a chaotic cacophony of sound, intermingling laughter and grief as echoes from the past flooded the room. One book flew open, and a luminous image spilled forth, a scene caught in time, where a family gathered around a table, sharing stories, laughter spilling like sunlight, but shadowed by a dark presence looming just beyond the light. Look! I shouted, pointing toward the vibrant tapestry unfurling before us, revealing both love and anguish, whole lives cradled in those fleeting moments. The air thickened with emotions, dragging us into the depths of this family's fragmented legacy. The boy started, his voice trembling with recognition. That's my family. He stepped forward, captivated by the image. But it can't be. I lost them. It's just a story now. Maybe not, I urged, sensing the connection threading through us. This is where your sacrifice comes into play. To uncover the truth, we must dive into the core of that pain. What are you willing to confront? A flash of his childhood home glittered in his eyes, illuminating moments of joy tainted by unspeakable loss. I felt it seep into my own heart, that aching longing that resonated so deeply within me. You are not alone, we can break this cycle. As we stood there, the roots of our sorrow intertwined, I sensed a shift, a current of energy swirling around us, captivating the very essence of our existence. The roar rose again, a symphony of voices rising in unity, urging us toward revelation. Then, as if spurred by my very thoughts, the whispers grew louder, revealing secrets that cut deeper than I ever expected. He's not the only one bound by a story, a voice rose, chilling the air. Startled, I turned towards the elderly woman, whose face slowly transformed from the comforting guide to something unreadable, almost ethereal. Emma, your story is just as entwined with his. You must choose whom to save. My heart plunged, and fear's icy grip clenched at my throat. What do you mean? The swirling energy stilled, locking us in a moment frozen in time. The choice is yours between pursuing your truths by abandoning the boy or sharing your pain and forging a bond that could unravel the mysteries of your past, she revealed, the gravity of her words crashing down like a wave, leaving only the vertigo of uncertainty in their wake. In that moment, I stood at the crossroads of my fate, fully aware that the decisions would shape our destinies forever. The echoing voices enhanced my breathing, and deep down, the weight of sacrifice loomed like thunder on the horizon. Who was I willing to lose in this haunting quest for clarity? The answer hung tantalizingly close, swaying between love, fear, and the promise of redemption. But now, the future felt like a fragile glass slowly slipping through my fingers, leaving nothing but uncertainty in its wake. The silence that followed the elderly woman's revelation was punctuated only by the soft rustling of paper, as if the stories themselves were breathlessly awaiting my response. Panic swallowed me whole, the weight of her words became a fog creeping into my chest. I was thrust into the depth of two diverging paths, neither offering the comfort of certainty. What if I can't choose? I breathed, the air thick with desperation. The boy's gaze bored through me, searching, pleading. Could he see the turmoil twisting inside? The courage to step toward the unknown felt like ice in my veins, and regret set in before I even made a decision. The boy took a fragile step closer. You won't lose me, Emma. Not if it means uncovering what we both need to heal. His voice trembled, a soft tether reaching for hope amidst the storm of our shared histories. That I words eluded me as I peered into the vivid tableau, alive with the laughter of those I could never know. What shadows veiled their full story? I felt my heart sway between the crucial threads binding us together and those that tangibly pulled apart, like a twisted necklace scraping against skin. The elderly woman sighed, her expression shifting back into that of something ancient and wise yet marked by sadness. What you seek is often hidden in the embrace of hurt, dear child. A sacrifice can lead to freedom coupled with wisdom. You must understand the weight of your past to shine light on the path ahead. Suddenly, I was swept into a memory I didn't know was mine, a fleeting moment drifting like a leaf on a stream. I was a child again, standing in my grandmother's kitchen, the smell of freshly baked cookies hanging sweetly in the air. Laughter echoed, a chorus of warmth suffusing the cramped space. But, as quickly as I caught that flicker, it vanished, replaced by the dark, heavy shroud that had lingered in my life since the accident. The juxtaposition of joy and pain threatened to tear me in two. I don't want to lose that light, I whispered, tears threatening to spill while heartache clenched around me. Would acknowledging this pain mean relinquishing everything I had fought to hold on to? The boy reached out a hand, a lifeline tethered from depths to depths. We don't have to carry our burdens alone. Together, we can bring joy back into the stories trapped within us. We can let go of the pain, but we cannot erase the memories that made us together, I repeated, the word echoing in my heart, resonating with determination. Perhaps there were remnants of strength in vulnerability. But in that instant of resolve, the swirling energy cracked with a sudden pulse, and the imagery swelled. The family scene morphed, turning dark, shadows twisting ominously around the joyful figures. A sharp chill crept through my veins as realization struck. They weren't simply caught in a past of joy and laughter, they were ensnared by a deeper tragedy, a sacrifice made that crippled their legacy and crafted the very shadows we had been grappling with. I see it, oh God, I see it. I gasped, sheer comprehension washing over me like icy water. Their laughter masked grief, their joy, an offering to a past that loomed too large. As I pieced the moments together, clarity ignited a painful spark in my chest. I could feel it, threads connecting my family's own history to theirs, invisible chains that choked our voices. Emma. The boy's voice snapped my thoughts back to him, worry etched upon his brow. What are they hiding? What is it you see? They weren't just living side by side with joy, there was something dark. A secret. A sacrifice made to maintain that happiness, for their love to breathe freely amidst loss. The weight of my voice deepened the silence that followed, and that quiet loss, he murmured, realization dawning. It binds us both. The elderly woman stepped forward, the ethereal glimmer in her eyes flickering like the candle's flame. Now you must consider, dear children, will you shed light upon those shadows or let the darkness settle forevermore? As fear rippled across my skin, the realization hit, were all my choices merely leading into another web of pain? To untangle the threads might mean facing unimaginable truths. Could I hold on to the warmth of the memories while grappling with the skeletons lurking in their closets? Emma." The boy's urgency pulled me free from the precipice of despair, and at that moment, I understood how intertwined we were. Then, a jolt coursed through me, as if the very air around us shimmered with truth. The ground quaked beneath us, breaking the scene apart like old roots ripped from the soil. "No!" I screamed, fear gripping my heart as shadows spiraled before my eyes. "Emma." The boy reached for me, but the darkness spread faster, swallowing the tableau we had glimpsed, the memories, the joys, and the truths we desperately sought. I turned to face the silhouettes closing in, determination rising against rising panic. "We won't let them silence us," I shouted defiantly. But as shadows thickened, something shifted in the debris of light, a blurring between our realities, leaving me with a pulse of dread. "Emma!" The boy's hand slipped from mine, and I turned just in time to catch a glimpse of his face, the fear, the uncertainty as he vanished into the abyss cast by the ominous waves of memory. "No!" I cried out, tears flooding my vision. The echo of his presence slipped further, and with it, a chilling truth: my choice had just been taken from me. There I stood, caught in the storm, the decision hanging heavy around my neck. A sacrifice had been made, but the shadow of uncertainty fell deeper. Was it he who vanished, or was it the part of myself that could still hold on to hope? Here, amid swirling emotions, I had drawn closer to the core of our quest, to grasp the shadows that eluded me even now, knowing they held the key to enlightenment, yet always teetering on the brink of a deeper, darker vow. The quest was only just beginning, and now I faced the haunting unknown without him. The remnants of a vibrant tableau vanished into the darkness, leaving an echoing silence that pressed against my chest, nearly suffocating. I stood alone in the void, the boy's frightened face etched in my memory like the ghost of a fleeting dream. The weight of fear settled around me like a thick fog, mingling with confusion and the rawness of loss. With the shadows looming, I instinctively took a step back, afraid of what I might encounter next. It felt as if the air itself had conspired against me, stripping away the warmth of companionship in mere moments. My heart raced, and I longed desperately to reach out, to grasp the fading memory of our shared resolve, but it was all gone, swallowed by the encroaching dark. Frantically, I glanced around. The world I had been drawn into had warped into uncertainty. The once vibrant colors faded to shades of gray, the walls seemed to pulse, as if alive with sorrow, interwoven with a sense of urgent longing. They bore witness to the weight of unsung sacrifices and untold stories. A quiet whisper echoed through the empty space, a haunting promise of truth waiting to be unearthed. "Together," I murmured, the word barely a breath, trembling upon the brink of despair. For an instant, I felt that the shadows had lifted, a flicker of warmth rising within the cold grip of uncertainty. Perhaps I would find my way back to him, find a path through this darkness if I could only remember that bond, but as if mocking my own faltering hope, the whispering shadows enveloped me, swirling tighter, distorting time and space. Suddenly, I was falling through a tunnel of fragmented memories, the echoes of laughter, the sweetness of baked cookies, the weight of unspoken fear. Each moment was a thread in the tapestry of my family's history, each filled with layers of joy and grief intertwined, drawing me deeper into the heart of their buried secrets. "Stop!" I cried out, desperation creeping into my voice. "I won't be lost among memories." But the tunnel pressed on, dragging me back to the vibrant scene of joy I had glimpsed before. Butterflies danced lazily in a sun-drenched garden, children chased each other on the grass, their laughter carrying through the air. My heart ached as I recognized the faces, familiar yet distant, the family I had never truly known. They wore smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes, mirroring my own inner turmoil. A sense of dread washed over me as I felt the threads of grief knotting within what should have been happiness. I understood, then, in an instant, their joy had been wallpapered over pain, a fragile facade built upon aching truths. The garden held a beauty made hollow by the weight of hidden grief, just like my own reality. As if guided by an unseen force, I stepped forward, wanting to touch the very core of their happiness. Instead, my fingers grazed the surface of the memory, causing it to ripple. Time trembled, and everything blurred once more, the laughter morphing into whispers that echoed through the darkness. "Emma." The boy's voice flickered like a flame, breaking through the shadows tangled around me. "You have to break the cycle. You will find me again. It's always been about uncovering the truth, with that spark of hope, courage ignited anew, light filtering into the darkness. I knew then that in order to save us both, I would have to confront the truth hidden in shadows. Though the fear gnawed at me, I took a step back toward the laughter, my heart racing as I ventured deeper into the memories. The faces shifted, warping as grief seeped from the cracks in their joy. I could feel the heaviness bearing down, the burden of choices made long ago. I needed to understand their sacrifice, but at what cost? Suddenly, everything fractured. The laughter turned to a roar of chaos, and darkness enveloped me once more. I was hurled back, crashing into a cold emptiness, and then came the quietus stillness that settled heavily around me. Before I could process what had happened, I was confronted with an unexpected sight. An elderly man stood there, eyes bright with compassion, illuminated against the darkness. He reached out a hand, an invitation wrapped in a tenderness that felt almost foreign. "Child, you can break the cycle," he said, his voice resonating deeply within me. "You're at a turning point. The footfalls of the past don't dictate your future. You can set a new path. Unravel the truth here and now, and you will find the light again. But it requires more than just understanding. It demands a sacrifice of your own." Every word he spoke felt like a ripple sent through my very being, awakening something dormant within me, a courage I didn't know I carried. "Please," I choked, tears brimming in my eyes, "I need to find him again. I can't face this without him." The man's gaze softened, a sage understanding crossing his features. "You may have lost him in memory, but he is not gone. Each revelation brings you closer. Remember, sometimes love requires us to leap into darkness to find the light we seek. Will you take that step?" In that moment of clarity, I felt the truth surge within me, raw and potent. The journey ahead would not be easy. It would demand sacrifices and the raw confrontation of my own fears. But for him, for what we had begun to uncover, me resolve solidified, unwavering despite the weight of my past and the shadows that intertwined with my story. Yet, just as I caught my breath, the shadows shivered with a sudden intensity. A voice, muffled but echoing with pain, cut through the darkness. "Emma. Hurry, I can't hold on." Without another thought, I lunged forward. The flickering light of hope burned bright, guiding me through the unraveling darkness. I would not let fear claim me. I would not lose him again. I plunged into the depths of the unknown, ready to uncover the truth that awaited us, ready to face the sacrifice that would shatter the shackles of our entwined destinies. As I plunged deeper into the abyss, my breath caught in my throat, a cacophony of emotions swirling within me. The darkness wrapped around my limbs like writhing vines, and I felt the weight of my heritage draping heavily on my shoulders. The echoes of the elderly man's encouragement lingered in my heart, faint yet resolute, spurring me on into the uncertain void. "Emma. Hurry, I can't hold on." The urgency in the boy's voice sliced through the fog of despair, pulling me closer to the fringes of consciousness I had resisted. My pulse raced as I strained to focus, to seek him amidst the swirling ether of uncertainty and fear. Each heartbeat was a reminder of the strength I bore, of the love we had shared, and a promise to reclaim that connection. Just then, a sliver of light punched through the enveloping darkness, a fragile glimmer that beckoned to me. I stumbled toward it, propelled by the echo of his cry, and reached out with trembling fingers. The light flickered, illuminating shadowy silhouettes that morphed into faces I recognized but couldn't fully recall. Each face bore witness to the toll of their burdens, mirroring the countless scars I harbored. With every step, I was confronted with their glances, their pain swirling with the hopes they had built, now laying shattered at their feet. But amid the sorrow lay flickers of warmth, glimmers of support woven through the uncertainty. They were pieces of me, shadows of what I had lost and what I still needed to discover. "Emma, please." His voice, now more desperate, ignited a deep instinct within me. I took a deep breath and shouted back, "I'm coming. Just hold on." With newfound determination, I pushed past the faces. Their sorrow clung to me like the tendrils of the very darkness I was trying to escape. I had to believe that through the grief, I could reach him, through his voice that resonated with a painful urgency. The light intensified, illuminating the path as I moved forward, each step echoing with echoes of the past. The space around me began to shift and shimmer, I felt it like the flickering edges of reality folding and unfolding. Suddenly, I was catapulted into a memory, the bright sun pouring down through a canopy of green leaves, laughter bubbling in the air as children played, chasing each other in a never-ending game. It washed over me like a wave, overwhelming in its purity. But then, just as quickly, the ambience eroded into a beautiful disarray, the laughter spiraled into echoes of despair, swirling away into a cacophony of muffled cries. With the bleary disintegration came a haunting realization: the joy of the garden had been built upon the fragile foundations of sorrow. "Help us, Emma," a faint whisper called, spiraling in from the depths of my memory, pleading with urgency. I turned, facing the echoes, but they only faded away into the swirling dark. I felt their loss, the weight of secrets locked away, the burdens of regret, and the suffocating love they could never express, pain wrapped in delicate beauty. Yet, through the tumult, a warm presence brushed against me, and I turned to see a girl, shoulders folded slightly forward but with a light in her eyes that flickered defiantly against the darkness. "You can break it," she insisted, "please, don't let them stay in the shadows. Remember our stories." A spark ignited. Had I not just faced a truth that whispered through each seam of my memory? Wasn't this journey about the unfolding of love, not just loss? I needed to carry it forward. I had to unravel their tales tangled within mine before they slipped through my grasp forever. Suddenly, an icy breath swept past me, chilling my resolve, but it also served as a reminder of my urgency. I needed to confront not just their grief but also my own. Clarity washed over me, and I recalled the weight I had been holding, fragments of my own pain that colored my memories. "Who are you, really?" I shouted toward the flickering shadows. "What sacrifices have you made? What truths are you hiding?" A stillness fell over us, the whispers of lost stories hanging thick in the air. Then, one by one, the silhouettes moved forward, faces now clear against the brightness, their pain laid bare for me to see. It was in that instant that I recognized what they were sharing, warmth and empathy breathing life into the dark spaces of my heart. Each face, once ghostly apparitions of memory, now channeled their grief into strength, illuminating the path ahead. Their sacrifices, their joys intertwined with Minyu, were not separate after all. And in that understanding, I felt the gentle glow of hope winding through me, lifting the darkness that had threatened to consume Emma. His voice echoed once more, fierce, cutting through my revelation like a blade. "Please." With a sudden jolt, I pressed forward toward the light surrounding me. The shadows amplified in response, an antagonist to my journey. I could feel the heat of their anguish wrapping tightly around my heart, but I would not let it swallow me whole. As I barreled through, the light shrank, a recognition dawning. It was tethering to one singular truth, the linchpin of our fates. The sacrifice the elderly man had hinted at lurked in the shadows of my choices, waiting to consume me if I didn't act soon. Desperation gripped me, spirals of doubt weaving through my heart. What was this sacrifice? What darkness did I need to embrace? And just as the light faded to a dim glow, revealing a solitary door with my name etched on it, the weight of its meaning crashed over me. Would I dare to open it, face the sacrifice that might sever me from everything I had known? But that wasn't the only realization that struck. His voice faded into the distancia, flicker extinguished as if swallowed by the very shadows I had been trying to pierce. "Emma, hurry. I can't hold on." With that final plea ringing in my ears, the door beckoned with potent urgency. I knew then, with terror entwined in hope, that beyond lay a truth that could either hollow me out or deliver a rebirth. Unaware of the shocking revelations I was about to unleash upon my fractured world. As my fingers hovered hesitantly over the door marked with my name, my heart thudded wildly in my chest, a frantic rhythm echoing the panic rising within me. The heavy silence around me felt oppressive, laden with unspoken truths and painful echoes. Each second stretched, dragging me deeper into my own tumultuous thoughts. What awaited on the other side? Would it offer a chance at redemption, or was it a dark chasm that would swallow my spirit whole? The fading cries for help from the boy crackled in the air, snapping me back to the urgency of the moment. I could not let fear chain me. That direct knowledge flickered under my skin like the essence of fire. Summoning every ounce of resolve, I pushed the door open, the hinges creaked ominously as if they hesitated, warning me that there was no turning back. The darkness beyond loomed, but something inside felt an intoxicating promise of liberation. Taking a step through, I was engulfed by a swirling whirlwind of sensations that pinched at my spirit, exposing the rawness of my grief and longing. A cold wind accompanied me, whispering secrets, visions of moments gone by, and glimmering memories tainted with grief where laughter had once lived. My surroundings shifted, and I found myself standing among the ruins of a once vibrant garden. Lush flowers withered, their colors dulled beneath a pall of heaviness. I could almost sense the laughter that had taken root here, now echoing softly through twisted branches. "Emma," a soft voice murmured, so much like his. I spun around, drawn by that familiar timbre. There, illuminated in a soft haze, stood the girl from before, her defiance still intact, emboldened by a resolute spirit. "What is happening?" I breathed, a mixture of fear and hope bubbling in my chest. "This is your heart, your memories, bound by promises and pain," she said, her eyes shimmering with empathy. "You've built walls to protect yourself, but they've also kept you estranged from your truth. You've kept your grief locked away like a sleeping shadow, but without facing it, you'll never uncover the gifts awaiting you on the other side." "Gifts?" I scoffed, bewildered. "All I feel is loss, and it's suffocating me." "Loss can be transformed," she insisted gently. "It can become your fuel, your strength. Just let it wash over you, embrace it instead of running. Only then can you discover the light still flickering within the darkness." Her words sank into my chest like anchors, a tethered connection that resonated with the unspoken promise of healing. I felt the walls shudder around me, memories breaking loose, bubbling forth like an underground spring threatening to overflow. Images of the boy flooded my mind, the moments we shared, the laughter and joy, tinged with the golden hues of a summer afternoon, endless, without a care in the world. Then the images twisted into shadows as nightmares took shape. Pain and betrayal, the fractured bond interwoven in our love. "Remember him," she urged, springing forth with a brightness that momentarily illuminated the thickening gloom. "Hold on to the beauty he brought into your life. Use that to bridge the divide between the past and present." But as her encouragement washed over me, doubt clawed its way back in, sending frosty currents through my veins. What if grasping that beauty only leads me deeper into pain? What if I release these memories and they break me apart? Then you will come undone, but from that disassembly, you will become something new, something more resilient, the girl replied earnestly, her resolve unwavering amidst the murk. Taking a deep breath, I steadied myself, the warmth of her conviction pushing me forward. I focused on the boy, his laughter resonated within me, a tether that reminded me of the love we had shared. Even amidst the darkness, I could almost hear him whispering, urging me not to lose sight of what mattered most. As I began to delve into the pool of memories, the laughter erupting in innocent joy, the hard-fought tears, the moments spent entwined within each other's arms, I felt a shift in the atmosphere. I no longer perceived the memories as chains binding me, they morphed into stepping stones guiding me back to the surface. Just as the captivating warmth began to envelop me, a chilling gust swept through. Shadows flickered at the edges of my sight. "No! Stay back!" I shouted, feeling the encroaching darkness clawing at me, desperate to reclaim its grasp. "Emma, confront it!" she shouted, her eyes piercing through the growing haze. "You must face what you fear, lest this darkness consume all you've built." My heart pounded as the shadows coalesced. A figure loomed at the horizon, draped in the familiar guise of despair, the embodiment of my fears materializing in the depths of my memory. "You cannot escape me," it hissed, the voice an echo of all my broken dreams. "You belong to sorrow, to regret," but at that moment, clarity flooded my thoughts. I pressed forward, heart racing as anger surged within me, a determination to confront the very pain that had tried to ensnare my spirit. "No!" I shouted with ferocity, every ounce of weight shifting as I steeled myself. "You do not define me. You have no power over who I choose to become." The figure recoiled as I surged forward with newfound tenacity, fueled by the fragmented memories swirling inside me. This illusion, this haunting echo of loss. Perhaps it was not my enemy after all, but merely a reflection of the depths I had suppressed. With each word I spoke, the shadows shrank, dissolving into tendrils of light chasing the darkness away. An exhale of relief surged through me as I felt the spaces around me shift, merging the past with the present. I was finally embracing my pain, no longer running from it. As the remnants of that haunting shadow faded, a resounding crash echoed behind me. I turned to see the courtyard of memories awakening, flowers blooming, colors vibrant, the laughter returning to the air like a forgotten melody. Hope stirred within me as I recognized it, an undeniable rebirth born of acceptance. Emma. The urgency returned in his voice, cutting through the veil again, but not like before. It held the colors of fate intertwined with my resolve. "I'm here," I cried, exhilarated and terrified all at once. Just as I began to surge forward, a tremor rippled through the ground beneath me, threatening the fragile inception of hope I had stitched together. Before me, a chasm opened, a pillar of light trapped with secrets hidden deep within the void. "You need to decide," the girl urged, her voice breaking through the chaos. "Will you leap into that unknown, trusting in your strength, or will you allow fear to shackle you once more?" A moment of silence suspended in time descended, as the room spun, shadows and light swirling around me. Questions lingered at the precipice of my mind. What awaited me in that chasm? What choices would determine the destiny of us all? And as the urgency of his voice ignited my spirit, I sensed a revelation unfurling within, a shadowed truth yet to be unveiled. Would I brave the leap? Would I uncover the power that lay hidden within the abyss? The air taut with uncertainty, my heart soared with reckless hope and fear as I approached the edge, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. As I stood on the precipice, teetering between fear and hope, time seemed to suspend itself, creating a cocoon of silence around me. The chasm beckoned, a swirling abyss hinting at the unknown, yet promising redemption. The boy's voice reverberated in my mind, wrapping around me like a lifeline. "Trust yourself, Emma." For a heartbeat, I let that trust filter through me, a glowing ember igniting my courage. But with it came the shadows, whispering their doubts. What if the chasm concealed more anguish? What if it only led to deeper despair? As I fought the turmoil inside, the girl stepped close, her presence a steady warmth in the cold air. "You've already faced the darkness, Emma. This is your choice. Embrace your truth, no matter how difficult that I." In that instant, clarity washed over me. The turbulence within swirled into focus, the memories that once felt like chains morphed into the very wings I needed to fly. Each shard of grief held within it a lesson as valuable as the joy we had shared. I inhaled deeply, pulling the essence of our memories into my being, letting them fortify my spirit. "Okay," I whispered, my voice trembling yet resolute. "I will leap." And with that, I closed my eyes, feeling the world around me dissolve, just as the edges of the light before me expanded. The sensation of falling enveloped me, weightless and free. The chasm transformed into a torrent of vivid hues, reds, blues, and greens swirling together like pages of a beloved story being turned. In this kaleidoscope, I glimpsed fleeting moments: his laughter, the warmth of his hand in mine, the whisper of secrets shared under a starry sky. And with every reflection, I felt the darkness from before drift away, replaced by the vibrant hues of our memory. Suddenly, I landed with a soft thud on solid ground, the air around me buzzing with energy. I opened my eyes and gasped. Before me stood a vast landscape that stretched endlessly, radiant flowers bursting into color, drenched in sunlight. It was a beautiful garden that felt both foreign and familiar, a representation of life beyond the grief. Yet as I stood awash in this beauty, a disquieting thought fluttered in my mind. This transformation felt too easy, too surface level. Beneath the colorful blooms, were there still roots of sorrow anchoring themselves in my heart? I caught movement in my peripheral vision, and as I turned, reality shifted again. There, standing under an archway of intertwining blossoms, was the boy, his visage as vivid as the memories I had just embraced but tainted with an unsettling shadow. "Emma, you cannot escape forever," he called, his voice soaked with an otherworldly depth that sent shivers racing down my spine. "You may have crossed the threshold, but I am still here. You must confront the true nature of this gift. Beneath my feet, the garden trembled, the bright colors dimming, overshadowed by the looming figure before me. My heart quickened as the realization struck. I had leaped into a vibrant facade, but beneath it lay a reckoning. No! I cried, stepping back as fear gripped me. Why can't you just allow me to feel this joy? Why must you haunt me still? He stepped closer, and I saw in his eyes a depth of understanding that intertwined with my confusion. I'm not here to punish you, Emma. I'm here to help you unravel the truth entwined in this transformation. You must acknowledge the pain that exists alongside the beauty. A wave of despair washed over me, but as I steadied myself, the girl's words surged forward. Embrace your truth. Tell me. I shouted into the gathering shadows. The garden seemed to hold its breath, the flowers wilting as if responding to my anguish. How do I confront it? How do I let go? By accepting that it is a part of you, he replied gently. You cannot dissect your heart into pieces. Grief and joy coexist, and it is through this union that you truly heal. The ground trembled again, and in that moment, clarity flickered. The boy was not just a vestige of my grief, nor was he solely a representation of all that had been lost. He was the living testament of our shared journey. The laughter and the tears, intertwined. As I took a trembling step forward, the garden around me flickered between beauty and shadow. Then show me. I urged, desperation slipping into my voice. If we must confront this truth together, help me. Help me to understand. In response, a gust of wind circled around us, swirling like a storm, a dance of joy and sorrow intertwining. The sky darkened, the brightness dimming, raindrops began to fall, each drop carrying memories of laughter, love, and loss. Let it fall, Emma, he urged, his eyes brightening with conviction. Let it cleanse you. Only then can you embrace the light within. As the rain poured, I tilted my head back, allowing the droplets to wash over me. Each touch felt electric, reminding me of all we had shared. My breath hitched as memories surged. Barefoot adventures in the sun, quiet moments shared beneath the stars, promises whispered in the dark. It mixed with the pain of his absence, swirling into something palpable, something real and raw, and in that tumultuous blend, I felt a trembling warmth unfurl within me, coaxing forth strength I never knew I possessed. The pain morphed, shedding its isolation, it wrapped around the joy like vines supporting a blossoming flower, but suddenly, a thunderous roar echoed, and the landscape quaked around us. A shadow began to form, more ominous and overpowering. No! I screamed, my heart racing. I won't be consumed again. Just as the darkness surged, the boy reached for my hand. Emma, together. In that profound moment, I felt the connection, not just to him but to every facet of my experience. The shadows surged forward, but this time, there was one other force driving me forward, me memories and his strength combined. As we thrust our hands together, the world exploded into a kaleidoscope of light and shadow, swirling around us in a tempest of emotion. Would we forge a path together, breaking the chains that bound us? Or would the darkness overshadow us once again, with that question looming, as the shadows and light clashed in a final, chaotic crescendo? Time flickered, and I felt every fiber of my being tremble. What truth awaited us at the end of this confrontation? What would it mean for my journey ahead? And as I clung tightly to his hand, the chaos around us surged, drawing us into the unknown, where the resolution of our fate lay yet unrevealed. In the aftermath of that swirling tempest, we became one with the dance of chaos and light, propelled into an uncharted territory where every whispered truth and shadow of pain fused into something bolder, grander. As the tumult receded, we emerged into a calm, a sanctuary untouched by the storm, an exquisite landscape stretching before us. It teemed with vivid colors and vibrancy, unfurling like a tapestry rich with stories yet to be told. The boy stood beside me, his eyes reflecting the kaleidoscope, a well of strength that anchored us both. We made it, he breathed, disbelief etching his features. We broke through. I turned to face him, a wave of realization washing over me. His presence here was more than just a shadow of my past, it was a testament to our shared journey. The connection between us pulsed, a heartbeat surging with the rhythm of forgiveness, strength, and resilience. But this isn't just about escape, I whispered, feeling every word seep into the essence of my being. This is about honoring the pain and the joy, allowing both to define our new beginning. His smile flickered beneath the shimmering sunlight as understanding dawned. We've faced the darkness together, Emma. Nothing is wasted, all of it is a part of us. Together, I echoed softly, intertwining my fingers with his, a physical reminder of the bond we had forged in the depths of our struggles. His warmth resonated through me, igniting a cascade of unbroken hope. With vulnerability swelling in my chest, I looked around, seeing shadows of our past fade, carved memories rematerializing like embers in the light. This garden, it's alive, I murmured, as blossoms swayed delicately in pulsating colors, each petal a story longing for release and recognition, embracing both life and loss. With every step we took forward, I felt layers of grief peel away like old paint, revealing the deeper hues beneath the colors of memories etched in laughter and love. Each blink transformed what once felt insurmountable, the flow of emotions coursed through the space like a healing balm. I want to remember, I said, my voice firm yet wistful. Every moment, each joy and sorrow, these are the depths of who we are. As if responding to my declaration, the air shimmered, and the landscape around us morphed again. This time, visions unfurled, laughter erupting around a table overloaded with food, my family's faces illuminated by joy but also shaded by an underlying sorrow. They carried this burden too, didn't they? I murmured, realization flooding through me. I had thought it was mine alone to shoulder. Their stories echo yours, he affirmed gently. Stories of darkness mingled with light, stitched together through love. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means allowing their struggles to coexist with your own. A tremor shook through me at the weight of his words, and tears pooled in my eyes, a bittersweet acknowledgement of the legacy that had bound us. Maybe I can forgive, I whispered, feeling the heaviness lift incrementally. Perhaps that journey is the sacrifice, the understanding that their struggles were not mine to own, yet they shaped me all the same. In that transformative tide, I saw the me family each face a mirror reflecting the scars of their battles, and yet there was something new, light, a glimmer of grace shimmering within the fractures. And suddenly, release flooded through me, easing the ache lodged heavily upon my heart. The boy leaned in, catalyzing that moment, the depth of our shared experiences manifesting in a soft, reassuring gaze. You are not alone, Emma. You never were. With that affirmation, clarity resurfaced, a brief yet piercing idea. What if we invited them into this place? I asked, urgency threading through my veins. What if we could connect with them, lessen the distance that has grown? His expression shifted, delight blooming. They could help us connect with the happiness we've unveiled, add their laughter to the garden, stitch brighter threads into our tapestry. Then let's do it, I said, conviction crystallizing. In that very moment, surrounded by our shared resilience, I reached deep into my heart, beckoning to them the whispers of my family, calling them closer into this embrace of healing. Come. I shouted into the air, the call unwavering, resonating with the essence of my soul. Join me. Our stories entwined, our laughter and sorrow, the very threads of our existence. The garden stirred, petals fluttering as if responding to my invitation. The air thickened with emotional weight, and suddenly, ethereal figures materialized, emerging from the gentle breeze. Shadows took form, perhaps uncertain at first but then resplendent with warm the gathering of spirit. Each familiar face shimmered with myriad emotions, awakened by their resonance to my invitation. They turned towards me, expressions of bewilderment giving way to gentle acceptance. Emma, I heard my mother's voice, echoing with tenderness. We've longed to reach you, to share the things we couldn't. We held on too tightly, my father's voice added, grounding, reflecting humility. Things unspoken have caused rifts, and we painted joy over pain, not realizing we sealed ourselves away in the process. Tears cascading down my cheeks, I stepped forward, their presence swirling around me in a comforting embrace. Forgive me, I murmured, each word imbued with longing. Forgive us all, for the misunderstanding and the silence. The landscape around us pulsated with energy, memories weaving in and out like sparkling yarn. "This is our joy," my brother said, appearing beside me, an echo of hope stifled yet alive in the tenderness of vulnerability. "Let's celebrate together," and as the laughter erupted, the garden pulsed with life, blossoms blooming brighter, the colors rising to a new crescendo that echoed through the air, a symphony of acceptance. Each flower became a reminder, a declaration that joy and sorrow would exist locked in tandem, ever entwined but never alone. With each shared laugh, each smile exchanged, I felt something profound shift. The boys standing beside me reflected that very same acceptance, our hearts unfurling together amidst the memories. It felt like a new beginning, the merging of two stories that breathed a spark of unity into the garden we had unveiled. So we danced amidst the beauty of our intertwined histories, the shadow of grief no longer overshadowed by despair but transformed into a canvas of light and hope. Forgiveness painted the garden anew, the paths ahead, now and less a testament to all that had been grappled, a reminder that in our deepest trials lay the seeds of friendship and redemption, and as I held on to the boy's hand, intertwining our fates, I could finally see the threads come together, the memories illuminating a future ripe with possibility. In that prose of affection thrumming in the air, I understood as if the very universe conspired to whisper, "Your story, our story, is unbroken," and as the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting golden rays into the garden, I knew we had found what we were searching for, a home made not just of joy or grief but a sacred blend woven with understanding, forever connected in the delicate beauty of existence. Together, I whispered to the wind, heart full, tears of joy tracing paths down my cheeks, relishing in the knowledge that courage had triumphed, and in love the enduring ties of family and friendship lay the heart of every story ever told.